This is KPIX 5 News.
I looked over my shoulder and everybody was running towards me saying, run, run.
The aftermath of the shooting at Los Angeles International Airport. Just ahead, the latest on the suspect and the effects on weekend air travel at Bay Area airports.
You hear the warnings every Halloween. Rarely does it actually happen, but a Monterey Bay Area woman has been poisoned this year by trick-or-treat candy.
And right on the heels of Halloween, ski season has arrived in the Sierra, the Tahoe area resort that is now open for skiers and snowboarders.
Well, it is 7 a.m. on this Saturday, the 2nd of November, 2013. Good morning, I'm Mark Kelly.
And I'm Ann Magovic. We're going to have your weekend weather forecast coming up in a couple of minutes. But first, the latest from Los Angeles International Airport. Today, investigators are trying to piece together evidence from yesterday's deadly shooting that left a TSA agent dead and 2 others injured. Police are looking into the background of the suspect, now in custody. Reporter Edward Lawrence joins us live from LAX. Edward, are things getting back to normal there?
They're trying to get back to normal here at the airport. Now, Terminal 3 is frozen in time. It's been frozen in time from the moment after the shooting. No one is allowed in. It's considered a active crime scene. Now, the passengers who left their belongings there have to leave the belongings there till at least later on this afternoon. Police are trying to figure out why this shooter hated the TSA so much that he targeted them. Investigators worked through the night at LAX's Terminal 3 processing the crime scene. Police say 23-year-old Paul Ciancia walked into the terminal, pulled out a semi-automatic rifle, and began shooting.
I just saw the gun, and I was just terrified, and like everybody else was, and we were all just on the ground.
39-year-old TSA officer Gerardo Hernandez was killed. Federal agents brought food to the Hernandez family home, and neighbors say they are shocked.
My heart goes out to them, and I pray that the Lord would give them peace and strength to go through this.
The head of the TSA will arrive here later on today. He'll meet with Hernandez's family, as well as 2 of the other agents wounded in the shooting. Ciancia appeared to have a grudge against the security agency. In a note found in the 23-year-old's bag, he called himself a pissed-off patriot and said he believed his constitutional rights were being violated by TSA searches. Ciancia's father in New Jersey told his local police about a suicidal text message from his son.
The text message was just a message to the little brother, and the way it was written, they had some concern about it. And
Mullah Massoud, the group's leader who was killed by a U.S. drone strike. Well, the death has sparked protests in Pakistan, where some politicians contend it's an attempt to sabotage government efforts at peace talks with the militant group. Massoud was among the United States' most wanted terrorists. It's believed he was behind a deadly suicide attack at a CIA base in Afghanistan and a failed car bombing in New York's Times Square.
Closer to home, police in the Salinas area are urging parents to check their kids' Halloween candy after a woman got sick. Now, she doesn't want her face shown, but she ate 3 pieces of chocolate candy, including a Snickers bar, and she says she immediately started having a panic attack. She got chills and stomach pains. She felt nauseous. Let me back that up. Her vision got blurry. She felt disoriented, and she started slurring her speech. We've changed her voice to protect her identity.
I was afraid for myself, but I was more afraid for my child. What's going to happen? What if something happens to me here, who's going to know that we're out here? And, I'm raising my daughter on my own, and it's kind of, afraid of what's going to happen to her.
Results from blood tests are still pending, but a doctor told police the symptoms were consistent with a, quote, acid-based substance.
One of BART's 2 biggest unions has approved a new contract after an agreement with management that ended a recent strike against the transit agency. So the results were announced late last night. 88% of the members of SEIU Local 1021 voted in favor of a 4-year deal. It includes wage increases and a compromise on pensions and health care costs. The other main union, ATU Local 1555, also voted late last night, but has not yet announced the results. Well, family and friends are mourning the death of 34-year-old Frankie Jimenez of Dixon. Jimenez was struck and killed on Interstate 680 in Milpitas while working in a construction zone early yesterday morning. Police say 20-year-old Adrian Sanchez of Gilroy veered into the cone zone. His car slammed into the back of a truck where Jimenez was standing and removing a sign. Sanchez was arrested on suspicion of felony drunk driving. He is hospitalized with serious injuries. The crash shut down several lanes for yesterday's morning commute, backing up traffic for miles.
Firefighters are looking into what caused a car to burst into flames and explode in the Caldecott Tunnel. It happened during yesterday morning's commute. Thick black smoke, as you can see there, filled the eastbound bore of the tunnel, which connects Oakland and Orinda. Traffic came to a screeching halt and commuters were briefly trapped. A CHP officer immediately pulled all cars to the right shoulder and people started evacuating. More than 150 people just abandoned their cars and poured out of the tunnel. The smoke was so thick, it was difficult for them to see and very difficult to breathe. People were covering their faces and carrying their children, trying to stay as far away from that smoke as possible. For the most part, that evacuation was orderly.
And then explosion started. The car exploded, big bangs. So I got out and walked all the way out. It was smoky in there. It was terrible, really.
There was a little family with some little girls and stuff, and we helped bring them out. And they had a baby, and one of the firemen were bringing the baby out, too.
8 people were taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation, but nobody was seriously hurt. Traffic on Highway 24 was backed up for miles. All 3 bores were reopened a couple of hours later.
Well, a new attraction in Sonoma County is expected to have a big traffic impact when it opens. Grayton Casino and Resort is expected to bring a lot of folks through Renort Park. Tuesday is opening day for the new casino. There are more than 3,000 slot and poker machines. At least 10,000 more vehicles are expected on the roads in that area. The CHP is preparing for that traffic increase.
We're going to try to keep it from happening, but give yourself some extra time and just be mentally prepared for that.
Or not.
Or not. That's great. If we wake up Wednesday morning and traffic's moving at the limit, we'll be really happy.
A spokesman for the casino says guests need not worry about sitting in traffic. Charter bus service will be provided.
Everybody wishes they had a little more storage space from time to time, and now the old Oakland Army base will provide ample storage and much more. City leaders broke ground to transform the old Army base into a $1.2 billion project known as Oakland Global. These abandoned buildings will be large warehouses for the Port of Oakland. More storage space means more cargo and better imports and exports, plus more than 2,000 permanent jobs.
Going to require 50% of the work hours coming from Oakland residents, along with requirements that contractors hire local residents as apprentices onto the project.
Oakland Global is expected to be finished in 5 years. City leaders anticipate the transformation will generate about $3 million in taxes for Oakland.
There's new information about the chaos and confusion in Castro Valley after workers abandoned patients at an assisted care facility. Well, here's an excerpt from a 911 call made by a staff member who stayed.
Is he breathing?
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't know what's wrong. He's just not looking well.
What's wrong with John? He's like in the tail, or he's in the tail.
Valley Springs Manor shut down for 2 days last week. Patients were still inside with no staff to take care of them except a janitor and a cook. Those 2 workers called 911 for help as they tried to care for the 14 patients left behind. Well, that job included helping amputees, the bedridden and mentally impaired. Authorities are now searching for the staff members who abandoned their post. Well, fans of gadgets by Cupertino-based Apple converged on the company's stores to get the latest version of the iPad. In New York, hundreds lined up before dawn yesterday at the flagship Apple store there on 5th Avenue and then celebrated when it opened. Similar scenes played out all around the country. The iPad Air costs about $500, which is more expensive than competing tablets, but reviews have been positive for this thinner device. The new iPad weighs just a single pound. Well, still to come, we'll take it to the Sierra, where skiers and snowboarders are opening this season near Donner Summit.
And one of America's favorite snow time movies now has a fitting tribute. You'll hear from the actor who appeared in one memorable scene.
Weather today will be memorable for the fact that we're cooling off a little bit, so a little bit of a slap in the face for the Bay Area forecast. Still, we get plenty of sun, and the numbers top out in the low 70s inland. Changes coming for tomorrow and for later in the week. Well, the forecast for you after we attend to generating a little revenue. Stay tuned.
Is the first mountain to open in the Sierra. 16 inches of snow fell to make a solid base there. Snowmaking machines, they did the rest. Hundreds of people packed the slopes yesterday.
basically magic out here at Boreal. We are so stoked to be the first resort open in California.
So Boreal is open today from 10 until 2. If you want to be spontaneous and make a quick trip, head on up there.
Well, around here, it's beginning to look a little bit like winter, too. I'm hearing hints of potential rain next week.
Is that true?
Well, you're hearing hints about it, yes.
And are you going to confirm that or deny it?
I'll confirm the hint.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if I'll confirm the
Non-committal, this guy.
Well, that's a life in weather, my dear. Nothing that'll put a dent in what has been an extraordinary preternaturally
Wow.
dry year.
It's been so dry. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
We're looking forward
and
to
it's not going to change much.
All right. Yesterday, Governor Jerry Brown told us even he is in the dark on this.
Yeah, well, look, there's so many things I want to know, but you can add that to the list. What is it, you know?
I do know.
What's going on?
It's Google's plan to market their Google Glass. And you haven't been informed by the Coast Guard or anybody?
No. Well, no, I don't. You know, there are a few things that don't always get to my desk, but I'll look into it now that you have brought it up.
KPIX 5 has learned through a source familiar with the project that it's being personally directed by Sergey Brin, a co-founder of Mountain View-based Google. The movable showroom for Google products, most importantly Google Glass, is made up of 40-foot shipping containers that can be assembled and disassembled anywhere in the world. It contains 3 floors of showrooms and an upper party deck. But the U.S. Coast Guard has informed Google that since it's a floating vessel, the structure is still subject to all applicable maritime regulations.
Well, now time for a sports break. The American League Western Division champion Oakland A's are keeping the same leadoff hitter. The team picked up the option year on center fielder Coco Crisp. In the just concluded season, Crisp hit a career-high 22 home runs, and he stole 21 bases. The A's also picked up the option for pitcher Brett Anderson, but declined on Kurt Suzuki and Chris Young. In the NHL, the Sharks' young sensation Tomas Hertl has been named the league's Rookie of the Month. He led the rookie class for October with an incredible 8 goals and 11 points in 13 games. The big game was a 4-goal night against the New York Rangers in San Jose on the 8th of October. One of them was this through-the-legs goal that became a viral video. And the Sharks host the Phoenix Coyotes this evening in downtown San Jose. Also on tap for your Saturday college football, the San Jose State Spartans are at UNLV. The California Bears host the Arizona Wildcats in Berkeley. And in basketball, the Warriors host the Sacramento Kings in Oakland.
You may remember the world's best-known Double Dog Dare, a fitting tribute to a popular holiday movie scene. Coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll be right back.
This morning's top stories.
Authorities in Los Angeles say the suspect in the deadly shooting at LAX had a large amount of ammunition. Paul Ciencia had at least 150 rounds when he opened fire yesterday. A 39-year-old TSA agent was killed, the first agent to die in the line of duty. 2 other agents were injured. That gunman is in custody at a hospital.
Air traffic is returning to normal patterns at the Bay Area's 3 major airports. There were several flight cancellations, many delays because of the shooting in LA. They include 2 departures and 3 arrivals at Mineta International Airport in San Jose. Travelers should check the status of their flights ahead of time and not just for trips to LAX.
One of BART's 2 biggest unions has just approved a new 4-year contract to cap off a bitter labor dispute. The results were announced late last night. 88% of the members of SEIU Local 1021 voted yes. The deal includes wage increases and a compromise on pensions and health care costs. Another union also voted but has not yet made those results public.
All right, one more look at the weather. Brian, give us a good Saturday.
Can't get enough. It looks like it's going to be pretty nice. We're starting out with dense fog along the shoreline, but after that we'll have mostly sunny skies, and winds are going to pick up tonight. That's the big thing as we look out through a glass foggily this morning. 45 degrees at Concord. Oakland's got 50. San Francisco 51. Forecast highs today look nice. Low 70s for the most part. Inland will be just in the low 60s along the shoreline, but we will get sunshine. Don't forget the winds tonight. We'll really be picking up. So strap down anything that needs to be strapped down. We've got plenty of sun in the week ahead with things turning a little bit south. Look, by the way, next Friday. Look at the total end of the week. Temperatures are going to dive by next weekend. So enjoy this week while you can. It's going to turn chilly next week.
And don't forget to turn those clocks back.
That's right. Yes.
Tonight. I love the extra hour of sleep. I know people lose the extra hour of daylight.
Yeah,
but
Can't have it all.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Just in time for the holidays, a Christmas classic is Frozen in Time.
You probably remember that scene in the movie A Christmas Story where Flick gets triple dog dared. Now the folks in Hammond, Indiana will never forget that treasured scene when his tongue gets frozen to the flagpole. The film takes place in Hammond. A bronze statue has been sculpted there to keep that scene forever remembered. Now, the actor Scott Schwartz was on hand for the unveiling, and he explained how the scene really went down.
It was a plastic pole with a suction cup, and they just put a little hole in it. And it was kind of like a vacuum cleaner, if you just think about it. Same thing, just smaller.
Schwartz was honored by the statue. He was 15 when he played the part of Flick, and that was 30 years ago.
One of the greatest movies of all time.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Our next newscast here on KPIX 5